I believe that opportunity looks a lot like hard work.
The only thing in life that stands between you and everything you've ever wanted to do is doing it. All that stood between me and everything I've ever wanted to do in life was doing it.
It comes down to this, Elvis. I think you have to work hard. Like, just so everybody knows, we haven't gotten into this subject yet. Working hard is the cost of entry to anything. You know 0 people that are successful that don't work their face off. You know 0 people. Now, they may have money because mommy and daddy made money and gave it to them. But people that actually built their own success, you know 0 people that have had success that did not put in obnoxious amounts of work.
When you see the famous people, wow, so successful, you don't know behind this story, how tough they are, like people, wow, Jackie, the move is so good. When everybody sleep, I still in the health club, in the mirror, practicing, like this, and and 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, get up on the set. Yeah. Then you suddenly do something, very beautiful. Oh yeah, go back, training again. Okay, there's a snake head, that's a snake mouth, that's snake tongue. Okay, you create more things.
It's funny, everybody wants a shortcut, right? That's the most common question people always ask me. Tell me the key. Yeah. And there is no magic. It's just a lot of little things you gotta do every day. Success is all those boring, sexy things that have to get done every single day to move the ball forward.
And so that's when I learned the tough lesson that nothing happens overnight. There's no such thing as overnight success. And that's the biggest thing we do to our young people, tell them that there's an animal as overnight success. You have to bust your ass, roll up your sleeves, and attack.
Do you think in order to succeed, not just in the fashion business, but just to succeed generally, is it talent or hard work?
It's a combination of both, but I would say it's slanted towards hard work, slanted towards obsession. There are many designers who have much greater talent as a designer than I do, but they may not have my drive, they may not work as hard, they may not have the focus, the desire. I mean, you have to have a talent, because in the end, you can have all those things, and if the pair of pants you make don't make someone's butt look good, they're not going to buy them. Yeah, so sure. You have to have the talent to be able to make something that people want. But then you also have to have the drive and the desire to, sometimes people are successful because maybe they don't have that drive, but they have someone around them who takes their raw talent and pushes them. But what you often see is when that other person steps away, their career can collapse, even though their talent may be immense.
Everything happens for a reason, and there's a story to everything, and if you take time to realize what your dream is and what you really want in life, no matter what it is, whether it's sports, whether it's other fields, you have to realize that there's always work to do, and you want to be the hardest working person in whatever you do, and you put yourself in position to be successful, and you have to have a passion about what you do, and basketball was mine. And that's what's carried me to this point.
And if you're watching this video right now, and if you want it as bad as I hear you want it, and if this is your year, and if 2017 is gonna be your year, and if this is your moment, and if you're sick and tired, and it's your time, these 31 days in August is exactly when you triple down, when you 4X, 5X down in your hustle, while everybody's at the pool drinking rosé. This is when you put in the grinding hours and get ready for your master plan. Please understand something that I'm fascinated by, and I'm hoping one person hears me and it's the time they needed to hear it. Consuming my content, coming to conferences like this, reading more books, debating about the way the world should be, being a perfectionist, debating, complaining, dwelling, all of it, excuses for not doing. If you ask me what I really want, I want this to be the last conference you ever go to.
And it's really remarkable how you can achieve anything in life. It's also remarkable how long it takes. I always thought an overnight success was literally overnight. And I don't want to tell you how many years ago I sat in the audience and thought, oh, one day I'll have a big company.
There's a huge sacrifice that people don't think about. You know, most people think, oh, I'm going to start a company, 2 months later it's going to be worth $1 billion, and I'm going to make a fortune. That is actually not what happens to 99% of people. 8 out of 10 fail. They have to do it 3 times. They spend a decade before they get their hit, or they work at one company for 15 years, and they finally get an exit. It's more like that, and the personal sacrifice is huge. There is no soccer game on Saturday. There's no Sunday dinner with the family. You're working because some guy in China or in India or some woman out there is kicking your ass, because we're in a global competition now. And so I don't care what your business is, men, women, you have to understand that you're going into a huge lifestyle change. And I tell people it's not for everybody. Don't do it if you don't have the stamina to get kicked around and driven into the ground and get up and do it again and beaten up by people that tell you, this is not kumbaya stuff, this is hardcore stuff.
I put in the work. I gave up all my weekends and holidays in high school because I knew I had to pay that price, because I wasn't gonna do I'm gonna go to school, meet some good kids at Stanford and Brown, Ivy League school, make some relationships, and that's gonna be my springboard. I was gonna start with no relationships and in the gutter, and I was gonna have to prove it, and I would have to show up and meet everybody like I did in my 30s. But in my teens and 20s, I was gonna have to work. And so what I did was, to the extreme of anybody I've met that had options. Some people lose their father, mother, welfare, but anybody who had some options, I punted every leisure activity in my life. Nothing. No weekends, no vacations, zero, nothing, nothing, zero, zero. All my high school friends, gone, because I wasn't around. All my college friends, post-college, gone. I'd see them a little bit. I love those guys, but gone. Girlfriends, nothing, all in. So what did I do? I worked. I worked to such an extreme level that when I push you on work, I don't even ask you to do 50% of what I did, and I guarantee you can win.
Look, this hustle thing is not a word. You have to be willing to give up something, okay? For 25 years, I gave up partying on the weekends, alcohol. While you guys were out partying, vacationing, going on the yachts, hanging out with the big ballers, you know what I was doing? Freaking hammering. I was hammering. I was learning. I was doing whatever it took to get in front of the right people. I was investing money in my future, my career, not in the club. And today I'm living the dream other people were just having. Okay.
I don't know a successful person that's ever worked 21 hours in their lifetime in a week. I know guys that are working 60 hours, 80 hours, 100 hours. Steve Jobs never worked a 21-hour week in his lifetime. Completely committed, completely dedicated. It's not work, it's a passion. And the reason it feels like work to you right now, if you go to a 21-hour work week in this country, it will feel so laborious and so much like work and so heavy. Why? Because in 21 hours, man, you can't get anything rolling. You want the momentum. There's nothing wrong with work. Work makes people feel good. Get to work. 40 hours? I don't want to work 40 hours. 100 hours? Now I'm interested, man, because I could work enough to where it doesn't feel like work anymore. It's just like going to the gym, baby. Don't work out a little bit, it just hurts. You want to work out a lot where you build muscle.
This is not a debate. The most controllable thing, listen, we're all built differently, right? We've all got different skills, different charisma levels, different beauty, different smart, but the most controllable thing in this room, the most controllable thing is putting in the work. We, especially the people in this conference, including myself, we are so fortunate. We are so entitled. There's so much abundance in the system. When I see other people try to drag people down and razz on them for their success, it makes me laugh because they don't realize how much abundance is in the system. There's nobody not your most direct competitor. Nobody's taking any money out of your pocket.
I need to be on the field, not in the stands. You understand? Hey, let them go to the stands, baby. Yeah, but Grant, what about enjoying life? Hey, what about you not enjoying life all the damn time because you ain't got your freaking money right? Let's keep it real, okay? You grind while they're out playing and drinking and sipping and smoking and doing their deal, okay? Forgetting. That's what they're doing, baby. They all forgetting. You grind while they're doing their thing, whatever that thing is, having fun, so that you can one day, you can live the dream that everybody has. You deserve the dream, but you got to pay the price to get it. Like they say, the dream's free. The hustle, that's sold completely separate.
I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, before all of these people, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better, and better isn't good enough if it can be best.
But I listened to what Jim Valvano said 21 years ago. The most poignant 7 words ever uttered in any speech anywhere. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Those great people didn't. I now have a responsibility to also not ever give up.
So stripping that all back to the start of your career, a man with a dream, you know, training in the gym day in, day out. If somebody said to you, you'll have or you'll be as successful as you are now, what would you had said back then?
I believe you. That's what I would have said. Because I did believe.
Yes.
I believed in it. I had very few people who told me that. I had a small group of people that would tell me something like that. Other than that, it was just me telling myself.
Yep.
So if someone came up to me and told me that all the way back then, I'd say you're damn right.
You know, that's all you have at the end of the day is your work and your integrity at all costs. I don't care if it's 4 scenes in a movie, and I don't care what it is, that you have to infuse it with as much excellence as you can. So when I, you know, was able to work with Meryl Streep, it was a dream come true, and I knew that I had to step up my game. You know, you always get better when you work with people who are excellent. You almost never get better when you work with people who are not excellent.
You know, I think one of the things that that's important for all of us is just the work ethic. You know, to be able to put in, like you do, the incredible hours as an entrepreneur, as a visionary, to do whatever it takes, because I don't believe that there's necessarily a magic pill, but I think there's a process, and doing the work is very important. You know, I don't want people to believe that there's a silver bullet and all of a sudden you have a great memory, or you have this great success or great relationship or health, and people always ask, what's the one thing I could do? And I always tell people that you have to do most of it, right? And be smart about it, but you have to put in the work, because you know, a lot of times people see on social media, they see all of the success, but what they don't see is the hustle, right? As Gary Vee talks about, and I think as they say, what you practice in private, they say you're rewarded for in public.
Wisdom will come to you in the unlikeliest of sources, a lot of times through failure. When you hit rock bottom, remember this: while you're struggling, rock bottom can also be a great foundation on which to build and on which to grow. I'm not worried that you'll be successful. I'm worried that you won't fail from time to time.
As a studio executive, one of the things I do is I develop scripts into movies. But there are some scripts that we develop for a very long time and it never looks like it's gonna get made, and we call this period of time development hell. Some of you have been in development hell because you had an idea for your life, and you've been trying and you've been pushing to allow that idea to get into production, but you seem so far away from it that you don't know what you're gonna do. And in this moment, in development hell, it is so tempting to give up on the very idea that brought you this far. You must realize that in development hell, when you are going through a time where you're about to give up on yourself, give up on your God, give up on your friends, give up on your dreams and your beliefs, this is the time when you have to go back to the original idea that motivated your life and hold on to it and don't give up. Because you know why? Because it is just like a scene of a movie. There are some good scenes, there are some bad scenes, but if you keep walking forward, guess what? The hero always wins.
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside.
If you're an excuse maker and you say you want, the money, the girl, the car, the boy, the dream, the whatever it is, how many ifs and what ifs and fearful stories are you telling yourself to keep you stuck in the comfortable cage that you're in?
Well, excuses, to me, are the common denominator of failure because they paralyze us. When we give an excuse, it really rationalizes a mistake. When you give an excuse, either it's because you didn't do something you should have, you did something you shouldn't have, or you made a bad choice, or you would never use the excuse in the first place. So every excuse is, in essence, you wrapping your arm around acknowledging your own mistake.
People who make excuses are living in the dark and they cannot see. And in that darkness, they make up excuses. And when you make excuses, you get nowhere. Your whole life stops. Right at the excuse. It stops, nothing else happens.
The moment you make a big investment with your time, with your energy, or with your resources, your money, your protection mechanisms and patterns will show up in the surface, right? And you start freaking out. And when you're in that heat of the moment, that tension, there are two ways you can respond. Either you're gonna be an excuse maker or you're gonna be an action taker.
One thing we cannot do is make excuses for an adult. So a lot of times we get in a situation where we set standards and the person we're with refuses to elevate to those standards. And then what we do, instead of upholding our standards, we start making excuses. And we make excuses and we find things that tell us it's okay. And subconsciously, we are believing those things and we are accepting those things to be true because we fear the unknown. We fear leaving and having to start all over again.
How do you stop making excuses? This is actually pretty simple. And I said it the other day, and you have to realize, you have to know, you have to accept that all your excuses are lies.
How do I stop myself from thinking negative thoughts or doubting, or when I'm pulled toward thinking about that can't work, how is this going to work, and start doubting? Well, the answer is you need to get the ball of energy, the positive ball of energy, bigger than the negative ball of energy that you've been establishing your whole life. And that's pretty huge at this point.
Whatever the case may be, people will say anything because they're not winning at a game that they want to be in, so they're looking for an excuse. Don't fall into that type of behavior. It's easy to do, it's easy to make excuses, it's easy to give up, but when you do that, all you're doing is leaving yourself to be bitter, angry, and without anything that you actually wanted to have.
When you make excuses, you get nothing done. You're just going in a circle and nothing is really happening. And you tell yourself how busy you are, but yet you're not that busy. You have that time to do the things you really want to do that don't mean a thing. It doesn't mean a thing, and you get those things done.
Stop making excuses. Stop embracing other people's excuses. Stop believing things that absolve you of any responsibility for your own life. because the reality of the situation is it just leaves you bitter, broken, and without anything that you actually wanted.
Stop being an excuse maker and start being an action taker. How? By investing in yourself. There's nothing that will reveal more about your character and how you show up for yourself and for the people that you love better than how you choose to invest.
The excuses are not valid. They aren't. They're trumped up. They're conjured up. They're fabricated. They're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. The truth. The truth will set you free. The truth will stand, and the truth will deliver you from procrastination and laziness and the downward spiral that comes with a lack of discipline.